Hello, everybody. This is Marijana Smolčec, an eTwinning group moderator from Inclusive Education. Here with me today is Kornelia Lohynova, who is also an eTwinning entrepreneurship in education group moderator. Today, Kornelia is not just the moderator, she is our guest speaker. Also, hello to Marta, our Center Support Service coordinator from Brussels. Before we start, we would like to introduce Kornelia and mention that this is going to be recorded. So if you don't want your name to be in the recording, make sure to leave the webinar. So we have to respect the GDPR. That's why we have to mention this. So Kornelia, thank you so much for joining us. Kornelia is a teacher of management at Hotel Academy in Bratislava, Slovakia. She is also an eTwinning ambassador and, as I already mentioned, a moderator of an eTwinning feature group, Entrepreneurship in Education. She is also an author of award-winning projects and online and on-site professional development courses focused mainly on entrepreneurship in education, social SEL or social emotional learning, and PBL learning or project-based learning. She is an invited speaker, workshop leader, and event moderator. She's also an external expert for the European SchoolNet, Microsoft Certified Educator, and Microsoft Office 365 trainer. To learn more about Kornelia, and maybe if you want to get in touch with her, you can follow her on Twitter and LinkedIn. So I have shared her contacts in the chat, and I will stop sharing now my screen. Kornelia, thank you one more time for joining us, and the mic is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for introduction. And yes, this is a great opportunity because we joined with Marijana, so two featured groups, so that we can deliver this webinar or online seminar for you. And yes, I will start. And yes, of course, Happy New Year. So did you wish your loved ones, so your students, Happy New Year? Probably, yes, we all want to be happy, of course, be well, be satisfied with our life. My question is, are you happy? Are you satisfied? According to Dr. Diener, who developed the model of subjective well-being, and he was called like Dr. Happiness. So there are three components of well-being: frequent positive affect, infrequent negative affect. So it means that how many positive and negative experiences we have. And then also cognitive evaluation such as life satisfaction. It means satisfaction with life as a whole. And this gentleman created a simple quiz, the satisfaction with this life satisfaction scale. Yes. And it assesses how much people agree or disagree with each of 5 items. And maybe I would like to ask you now to go to this link. So just type this digitally, and just go there. I will give you 2 or 3 minutes, and just take this simple quiz, and we will see how satisfied group we have there. But you need to count your points. Yes. It will be anonymous, so I am not. You don't need to share your names. Just don't forget to count your points when you do this. And you will see there are 5 statements, and then I will show you the results. I mean, results of how happy, satisfied we are here. And then, if you count your points, then you can see your scoring, whether you are really satisfied, dissatisfied, and all these possibilities. So go to that link And I will still for a while, I will share this, and then I will go to the results. So hopefully now I can go. And the results are here. Okay, I need to go there and this. So we can see now this number. There is like, okay, we have 49 responses, 50 goods. And because the scale was from 1 to 7, so you can see the number, which is not so bad. So I can see that it's quite nice. I mean, yes, 55 of us and around 5. And 5 means if if you go and count all these 5, okay, so it means that you are satisfied with your life. I will show it again. So this is our score. Satisfied. Perfect. Good. So I hope it's working. And now I will just go on. And this quiz was about personal criteria, yes, that make you satisfied and happy with your life. But now the question is, what matters most to you? What makes you happy and satisfied? Because happiness, and now I will share with you this nice acronym SPIRE. Happiness has these 5 elements according to the name is Tal Ben-Shahar, and he taught happiness at Harvard University. There are, of course, more approaches to happiness and well-being, but I like this now. And spiritual, so he's talking about these 5 like levels and or elements. So spiritual well-being, it means it's about purpose, yes, meaning of our life. We have goals in life, we have positive impact on others, we do things that are important to others, yes. And then we have physical. It's about good sleep, exercise, we need to have a rest, good nutrition. And then there is intellectual well-being, and it's connected with curiosity, learning, personal growth. And then it's about relations, yes, relations with others, but also with oneself. And then we have emotional. And emotional, it means how do you deal with your emotions? So what is our role as teachers? So in my opinion, it's to support well-being of our students. And why? Because also these, let's say, strange COVID times showed us. It's easy to see when we, I don't know, now when we go skiing and we break our leg, it is visible. It is painful, people pay attention to it. But what if our soul hurts? We pretend to be okay. Yes, people around usually don't see it or don't understand what's going wrong. So, do we really know why sometimes our students don't work at schools? Why they disturb? Why they don't pay attention to their studies maybe? Why they maybe avoid classes? Do we really care? We are adults, and sometimes we have problems understanding ourselves, managing our emotions, solving our problems, and even achieving high performance that is needed almost all the time. And what about kids? what is our focus at schools? And of course, our focus is academic performance, results, yes, student attendance, behavior, how they are performing at tests. And of course, we are focused on what can we see, what do we measure, and of course we are measured according to these results. So we focus on this 10% of an iceberg above water. And the question is, are we interested in what is underwater? For me, social and emotional learning is about focusing on this part of the iceberg, that is below the surface. So what is social and emotional learning? Here is a definition, a long one, according to this collaborative for academic social and emotional learning. Social and emotional learning is this process, the important process that through which we apply knowledge, skills and attitudes to develop healthy identities. It's important to manage emotions, achieve goals, and show empathy. Yes, and maintain relationships, and of course make responsible and caring decisions. So now we are going to talk about these 5 elements or 5 competencies that create social and emotional learning. And we need to recognize, of course, first of all, our emotions, be aware of our thoughts, understand how they are interconnected. We should recognize our strengths and limitations with, of course, sense of confidence and purpose. That's why self-awareness must be the first step, always. You must be aware first. So many times then we can't prevent emotions to come. But what can we influence? It is how long they last, and it is how strong they are. That is in our hands. Or sometimes if we train it. So the second competence is self-management. And it is the ability to manage our emotions, our thoughts, our behaviors. In different situations, many stress, feel motivation also, and agency to set goals, to accomplish our goals. And as you can see, we have connection to well-being. All 5 levels, SPIRE, as you remember, probably. But especially emotional well-being. So what if we begin to care about our students and their emotional well-being? But let's not forget that students need role models. So first of all, we should work on our emotional intelligence. I know that there is a lack of training for teachers, but still, today I am just going to give you an overview of these 5 competencies, or just 4 competencies of social and emotional learning. But maybe next time I will come up with more tips, activities and programs to implement SEL in your classrooms, and I will also maybe suggest learning event about social and emotional learning, because for me it's really crucial. So first of all, students need to feel that they are safe, they are supported, to talk about their emotions. And of course, it's okay to have both positive and negative emotions. So we need to build an atmosphere of respect and trust. This is number 1. Yes, I need to know that students are ready to learn. When I come to my classroom, it's not about starting, teaching, but I want to know whether they are ready. And it's not possible when they are under stress, when they don't feel safe or respected and valued. These are 3 important conditions for learning. Yes, feel safe, respected, valued. Important. So we have this check-in. I give them quiz, even with questions about their feelings, but also how they slept. Can you see there is the result of my students? The first question, this 3.16, is about they sleep. How do they sleep? And it's just 3. Yes. Then I ask them about their breakfast or lunch. Depends on when do I give them these questions. So simple questions to know about their mood and readiness to focus, but also to help them understand their emotions and emotions of others. And then we also sometimes share and have this a little devote time to talk about rose and thorns they experience. So it's like positive and negative, what they experience, or what maybe what day brings them. And so this is the way how to draw attention to also positive things in their life. And I will show you now, because I have discovered a great tool for Checkin, and I use this now. So this will be, no, from this, okay, I will go to these Teams. So if you use, probably many of you use Microsoft Teams, and they edit this great tool, Reflect. It is designed to support teachers and students on their, let's say, the social and emotional learning journey. So we have these Teams. I create a new conversation, and here's this heart. Here it is. If you don't have it, sorry, then you can go to these 3 dots and then you can find this. So the name is Reflect. And for example, I ask them, and you can see a lot of questions. So, how are you feeling? Or how did this week feel for you? So it's about emotions, but also learning. It's about goals and intentions. So you can give them these questions. For example, I give them this. I send it. And I can even edit whether they will see responses of their classmates or not. Never they see the names. Yes, only teacher can see the names, but and now I will, so this is mine account, and now I will show you student account. So this is student. So this, I pose this question. And for example, I feel like this. And when I click on this, so this is very nice, because sometimes we don't have a vocabulary of emotions. And if you go there, so you can choose. Yes, calm. So these explanations, if you don't want to see this character, you can hide it, but this is nice, you know, or maybe I feel like this. And also, again, you have all these nice like emotions and descriptions. So this is important to teach students, and maybe also to teach ourselves this vocabulary of emotions. Why it is important? Because if we are able to name it, if we are aware of this, then we can regulate it much better. So then, for example, what? Anxious. As a student, I feel like this. Good. And now I go to this, to my as a teacher account, and I see, then I will see responses of my students. And even in insights, and insights are another like tool that you can add in your team, then I can see even more. Yes, and I can, for example, follow every day or from time to time the journey of my students, how they feel. Yes, so just it was just a tip to explore, maybe. And I will go on. Yes. So there are, of course, more like more tools or activities, but I have this simple survey also in MS Team, and I mean as with plus again in Menti, and please go to menti.com and just check how do you understand your emotions. Yes, so I have this survey for you too, and I will show you the results. So go to this menti.com if it's possible, and you have this code, and this is simple quiz, how good they are in self-awareness, how they understand their emotions. Because after that, they know what their weaknesses are and what they maybe should focus on next week's. So I will go again to, now I'm not sure where, okay, here it is, in this Menti. Perfect. Perfect. So now you see the results. Yes, you usually know how you feel. Good. Body reacts. How your body reacts. Perfect. And I can see that there are some maybe weaknesses in I express my emotions in words. Maybe Reflect tool could help you in this. Also, teachers, sometimes, yes, I struggle with this too, that I'm not sure how to express, but what is important that you know and use strategies to manage emotions, and yes, you are able to talk about your emotions with others. Good. Important, you know your emotional triggers. Perfect. Good. Okay, so I will go on. This was just a tip that you can do too with your students, and then there are more activities. Yes, like you can ask your students to keep a reflective journal, to write maybe about their emotional situations they experience, and they should write, be aware of situation, you know, the trigger, then emotion, and their reactions, so that next time they can regulate it maybe. Self-awareness is also about being aware of our strengths. So let students do their personal SWOT analysis maybe, so that they know about their strengths. And of course, if we know about our strengths, it's important for our self-confidence. And here's the link. It's very good. It's free. There are, of course, a lot of quizzes, but this is something that I give my students, this via character.org. It's really very good quiz, free, and you can just register, take this quiz of your strengths. They are character strengths. And we know that if you use your character strengths in your life, it makes you more happy. So do this with your students. And what you can do also, maybe intentionally talk about your emotions and how they impact maybe our well-being. Of course, positive emotions are important, but it doesn't mean that negative are bad. They both are important, but we need to experience more positive than negative emotions, and there is also one research that suggests that one negative emotion, for one negative emotion, we need 3 positive to have like balance. So all these 4 elements are of course connected. Yes. Example, when I am tired, I'm not fit, I don't feel well, then my emotions are not positive maybe. And our emotions then drive our thoughts, which in turn create behaviors, yes, and lead to action. But we can influence our emotions by our thoughts. We can influence our emotions when, for example, also we exercise. So this when we do something with our body. If we understand how all this works, then we have more power to manage this. And of course, self-awareness, self-management, it is crucial. And this can be done by maybe applying mindfulness. Be mindful about what you feel, what you think, what you do. Yes, and why we need to regulate emotions and recognize them from the beginning, because later on we can lose control over them. Because it is like with this horse, yes, it's not possible to ride frightened horse. And then more activities. So we also talk about zones of regulation. So you can see. I have these like shared document when they even know or find their strategies, what to do when they are in blue zone, green, or yellow, or red. Yes, green is the best for learning. And of course, then I know that maybe for a certain zone, there are some activities more or less suitable for students. And another tip we live in this digital age. So we also check our digital habits. And when so they write, you can see I put sometimes in English some activities for my students. So you can see what I put there, and they also then set a goal to change if they are not satisfied with certain habit. Yes. And then stress. Yes, of course, stress is it's a state of uncertainty, and it is the biggest threat to our brain. Yes, when we are not certain, it is a threat. Of course, stress is not always negative. Sometimes it can be a kind of stimulation, but it's important to recognize it's very individual. We have different triggers of stress, and also different strategies to cope with it. But it's important to know that if we live in permanent stress, it really has impact on our brain, on our body, on our health. Yes, even problem with digestions or headaches, depression, even reproduction. And what is not good? When we are in stress, we are more rigid. We lose concentration, our memory is not working, and we are not at all be creative and open-minded. Yes, and sometimes we forget that our students, many of them, live in a stressful environment, and it has really huge impact on their cognitive skills and memory. We can't want from them to study hard, to remember things, because it's not possible biologically. And there is another dangerous impact of stress, because when we are in stress, we don't feel empathy for others, only for very close people. So how to manage stress? Of course, we can like change situation or our reaction. And there is one technique that you can do with me. Now, there are many strategies, of course, and maybe later on I will talk about them, but now just one technique that is helpful, and it's slow breathing. Because usually when you are in stress, you don't breathe slowly, not at all. It's very fast. So when we breathe slowly, it's a signal for our brain that yes, we are calm. So now maybe we can do one exercise, and when you are angry, when you are in stress, so like the first aid is to calm down quickly, is breathe in shortly, twice with nose, and then breathe out slowly for 7 seconds, like. repeat this 3 times, then it should help. I do this, I practice this from time to time so that it is automatic when really needed. So maybe the question would be, what is your strategy to regulate your negative emotions and your stress? And we all know, probably you have heard many times, that mindfulness is helpful also. It's a practice of being fully aware of the moment, yes, of your thoughts, of your emotions, of your actions. So it means that you are really immersed in present moment and you pay close attention to what is going on. And of course you can turn even any activity to a mindfulness activity. Even when you are walking or whatever, doing dishes or looking out of your windows. And I do this with my students. And yes, body scanning, we don't have time now to do this, but maybe I will wait 30 seconds. If you have anything close to you, just go and, like I have baked my bread. I will use this. So please go and take anything that you can eat now. And we will do this exercise together. And okay, so maybe first of all, what I usually do with my students, that I bring them kind of candies and yes, so, or gummy bears, they love it, or chocolate, piece of chocolate. If you have a chocolate, then it's perfect. So first we look. Now I'm not sure whether you can see, but because I have my screen, just I can see my slide, so hopefully you can see. So first, just look at this bread. Notice the shape, or whatever you have. Notice the shape, color, texture. You have it in your fingers. So how does it feel on your skin? Just focus on this feeling that you have. Now, focus on the different smells that are present in your food. And then you can move it to your mouth. Okay, I will not, because then I can't talk. But don't bite yet. Just move it to your mouth and focus on the texture of it in your mouth. Then you can move it with your tongue and focus on this variety of tastes that it has. And slowly start to chew it, very slowly and really deliberately. How it feels, how it tastes. Enjoy that moment and connect it with gratefulness. Be grateful for this. If you find maybe yourself thinking of other things, then just notice the thought for a moment and then come back and focus on this eating. So yes, that's it. Now it was very fast, but you can do this with your students. And yes, piece of chocolate. Now it's a problem, of course, in this. We need to wear masks, but then what you can do is breathing. Yes, you can have this body scanning. So breathe exercise. So still it is perfect for concentration. And yes, and then of course we should support growth mindset, and I'm sure that you know already growth mindset is a source of happiness, and Carol Dweck came up with this huge research focus on mindset and introduced this term growth mindset and fixed mindset. So growth mindset, this belief that abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work, and you know, we teachers can do much, really a lot with this, and we can influence children and cultivate their growth mindset. And this is possible with such simple things as praise. Probably you know it, we should praise children for their hard work, for their effort, not result and their talent. And because when students have growth mindset, they are more likely to feel self-confident. Yes, they have self-esteem, they self-efficacy, that they believe that they can be successful. And even there is nice research that they are even less likely to be dependent on, you know, social media likes. And yes, so fixed and growth mindset, I would recommend to each teacher to read, or maybe there is also audiobook, Carol Dweck, about this growth mindset. Really perfect reading. So it was about emotional intelligence, this first part, like self-awareness, self-management. So just a few tips, yes. And now we come to social intelligence and the social part. And you can see that there is a direct connection to well-being, empathy, yes, understanding other perspectives, appreciate diversity. It's about relationships, building relationships, and we build relationships when we communicate, you know, how we negotiate, how can we work in teams. So this is another huge part that we should work on. And yes, we come to empathy. And I want to focus on empathy because this is something that, yes, we all feel empathy for somebody. Also our students, they are kind to somebody for sure. But important thing is to be kind and empathetic to people. It's called like outside of the circle of concern. Yes. So because, and we know it, we have this experience, we usually tend to appreciate people and be kind to those who are similar. This is our brain. Yes, our brain works like that. And unfortunately, what we do, usually we categorize people, and that is they category. They category is dangerous, and these categories are very popular, and even now. So, if we want to support empathy and develop this, it can be developed in a safe environment. Yes. So, of course, and I'm sure you do this, that you create classroom like charter, you know, the rules. And the question or important thing is that students cannot simply be taught about behaviors like be kind or, you know, show empathy, be tolerant. Of course, it doesn't work. They must experience them. So, design classroom charter together with students. Ask them, how do you want to feel? And then turn these feelings into the rules. So there are certain steps that you can do. And also, empathy doesn't work when we are, and of course, lead by example. Yes, that is important. And empathy, I already mentioned, doesn't work when we are under stress. And they category, yes, and they category could be people of different ages or what, cultures, nationalities. And what helps to show that they category, whoever it is, they have common things with us. And it is our, I think that it is our work also to show students those bridges. And we have perfect opportunity with eTwinning projects, Erasmus Plus projects. That is a great way how to support empathy and open minds of our students. I have really experience with this and it works. And I'm sure that you have it too. And of course, there are certain activities. One of the first ways maybe the students begin to experience empathy is through stories. Yes, to read stories from different backgrounds, discuss, or maybe ask students to write story from a different perspective. Yes, or again, keep reflective journal. Maybe you can pose a question, how would you feel if someone, I don't know what, and then they can respond. How do you feel, how would you feel if you didn't have, and then again, you can go on with whatever issue maybe is in your classroom. So just build this. And then act of kindness, or also every month, keep in mind that you could do like act of kindness with your students maybe, because it really helps. It even helps to be, of course, for our well-being and happiness. And debating clubs are perfect. Debating, if you and students need to talk from the different point of view or from in different roles, it's perfect. And I want to share bad news when I'm here in empathy, because in the last 20 years, according to Harvard research, empathy went down by 40%. 40%. And measures were done among 20 years old people. And social media cause us to be more polarized. Not only that, but yes, also social media. Because we don't talk to people with compassion. Yes, it's different if you hurt somebody and see reaction face to face, and if you don't see the response, then sometimes we don't care about that, and we sometimes go out with horrible things, and we keep forgetting that on the other side of the screen there are people like us. So online world is a bit anonymous. And yes, also there is another dangerous thing that was brought about by internet and social media, and it's social comparison. So we also should teach our students how to avoid it. And there is this stop technique. Stop technique is comes from behavioral therapy, and it is used to stop ruminating. So whenever you, for example, you read, you have posed that whenever you realize that your mind is comparing, and our mind always is comparing. So just tell yourself stop. Yes, when you see that again your neighbor or your friend or whoever on Instagram is somewhere, and you feel like envious, and you think, oh, why I am not there, and he's such a lucky, or she's such a lucky girl, and so just notice this. It's again about awareness, and just say it loud, stop. And then another thing that you can do is practice gratitude. Yes, gratitude is a killer of envy. And of course, important message, curate information that you get. Yes, control it. And just set time for social media. And you don't need to run to check every minute what's new. And yes. So, okay, so maybe we could, this is something that I really suggest for years, to send kudos, to appreciate somebody for helping, for nice behavior, you know, to invite your students to send kudos to each other, to pay attention to that, because it can increase student motivation and also improve behavior. So we need to focus on good things. We need to catch students doing good things, not wrong things. What we usually do, that we try to catch them when they do something wrong, but when we catch them doing nice things for others, appreciate it, and maybe encourage other students to be like co-catchers in this, and gave this kind of kudos to each other, it could change environment of your classroom too. And yes, of course, there is to build nice relationships. It's important to teach, to be polite, to be respectful, how to communicate. Yes, just simple things like eye contact, active listening, that we sometimes even don't see. Yes, we more look at our mobile phones than to the eyes of others. And then when we communicate, we should listen with our ears, but not only the content, but also the tone that is being used. Then listen with our eyes. Also, it's about nonverbal communication, yes. And then listen with our heart. What do you think that the other person feels? And of course, there are certain techniques, and maybe it should be also another webinar about that, how to negotiate maybe effectively, so that we have win-win situation, which is almost impossible to reach, but we can always try to do that. And but this was just overview. Let's say that maybe next time we can talk more detailed about all these techniques. And then I would like to share with you, if you haven't heard about this nonviolent communication, then it could be a perfect start. Marshall Rosenberg, it's really something that I really like. I love this approach, nonviolent communication, and he came up with this idea that everything a person does is an attempt to fulfill his or her own needs. Yes, so it would be very useful to practice this with your students. So I say what I see without blaming, criticizing. I express my own feelings and needs. No criticizing my partner or blaming him. I formulate a request. Yes, without manipulation. I express thanks. And I don't take all these criticism and demands personally. I try to listen empathetically. It is perfect. Very simple rules, not easy to practice them. There is a school, and I'm taking a course, and I really love it, and want to even to learn more and more because it's yes, it's not easy to practice it. And then I have this last suggestion for you, and this is SCARF model. It was developed by David Rock, and he came with this, you can see this brain-based model for collaborating with and influencing others. So SCARF again stands for 5 key domains, and they influence our behavior in social situations. So the model is based on neuroscience research. Because these 5 social domains, as you can see, status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, fairness, they activate the same threat and reward responses in our brain that we rely on for physical survival. So it's really deep in our brain. So I would like to suggest having like an invisible scarf always when you communicate with others, so that they don't feel threatened but rewarded. Because when we feel threatened, it blocks our everything, our creativity, our ability to solve problems, and really it makes us, of course, very difficult to collaborate with others. When we feel rewarded, then we, of course, want to do a good job. So what does it mean? Status. Status, it means, so when we talk to anybody, we need to think of status. Status, it means our importance to others. We all want to be valued, respected. So when talking to others, talk with respect. Certainty. It's our ability to predict the future. So when you talk to others, be open, be clear with your expectations from others. So they should feel certain, they should feel safe. That is important. Then autonomy. So ask people about their opinions. Yes, give them responsibility. Maybe offer alternatives and give your students choice. And then we have this relatedness. It means that how safe we feel with others, whether we belong or not. We all want to belong somewhere. We want, of course, to be understood. So if you talk to someone, try to find something that connects you. Yes? That is similar. I already mentioned it. So that we don't feel this like a they category. Yes? Build bridges. And then fairness. How fair we perceive these exchanges between people. So if we think that something is not fair, then we feel threatened. So be fair, create rules, follow the rules, and follow the rule with kindness and firmness. Yes, that is what I once read one article from one psychologist that I follow, and it was very nice. Kind and firm. So this was just overview. I was not focusing on responsible decision making. It's about yes, thinking always about that our actions have impact on others. And this competency, I already was talking about it when we had entrepreneurship webinars. But these 4, let's say, competencies that build up the social and emotional learning, I think that we can step by step start maybe implementing this in our classrooms. It means that just you can set, for example, once per week, I will do a kind of, let's say, mindfulness exercise or activity. I will do every week at least check-in with my students, and so that they express their feelings. And so talking about this, really be close to them. I think that we all can try some of activities, and there are many, many more. And of course, what is the most important is that what we can do in our schools is promote good relationships. Really create atmosphere of tolerance, kindness and belonging, and offer active learning, yes, where students feel that they are competent, they have voice, they have choice, they can make a difference, and they are valuable members, let's say, of the community. So, and why I have this teacher, I call it a lazy teacher, but you know this approach. Of course, I am not author of this approach of lazy teacher, but I just really like it. It means that whatever students are able to do, let them do. Don't do anything instead of them. And yes, active learning, respectful environment, so that you are happy when you enter your classroom and also when you finish and go home. So that's it. I was sharing, and so I think that, of course, later in the future I will come with more like tips or activities, what you can do with your students, and I hope that some of these ideas you will implement, so that you feel you really are helpful to your students and you care about their well-being, but also your well-being. That's important. So thanks a lot, and I'm not sure whether there were any questions.
Thank you, Kornelia. We have been following the chat. I haven't noticed any question, but I have a question for you. It is actually regarding the tool you mentioned in the beginning one. It is viacharacter.org. You said that we need a registration. So in order to fill in this, let's say, character analysis, the person should be registered. So it cannot be like done anonymously.
No. And there is also different. There are also for young students. So even there are different kind of questionnaires. Mm-hmm. But it's only, you register only so that you get results.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, so we have shared this link in the chat, and just to let you know to the...
And it's done by university. I think that is by Yale University. So it's really, it's not something, it was created by authors of positive psychology. The name is Martin Seligman, maybe you heard it. So it is really something that is proved, that safe also website.
Yeah, okay. So I have also shared in the chat for all of you. We would like you to leave us a feedback and evaluation of Kornelia's webinar. And if you are willing to get a certificate, please mention that also in the Google form. I have been sharing it now in the chat. I will share it one more time. Also, if you have any questions now, and we might maybe have missed anything, somebody have mentioned, I really like the Microsoft Teams tool you shared, the one with reflection. I also like to praise my students. There's also a possibility of badges. Thank you for sharing reflection with us. And also, can you, somebody mentioned Kudo box or something like that. Have you heard of that tool? I think I read it in chat.
Kudo box, I shared it with you.
Somebody said that they used it also. So people have been trying to implement the mindfulness and social and emotional learning. And I really like your last slide. Even though the things are changing daily, sharing the self-awareness and the things to help our students and for us as well. It's the best way to find what is your mindfulness. I will just share that recently I have started to make origamis, but usually I like to watch videos and series and films. This is what relaxes me. But there is also walks. Or my colleague today mentioned, I like to go at least once a day. We have a lake near our home, in a house, and she goes there daily. She says, I need that. It's like a reset for me. What do you think, Kornelia? What is your mindfulness? I maybe haven't been following carefully, but do you have any special one, or do you think that any of us should find our own?
I think that all of us can have our own tips, but there are, of course, some tips that could be like very general. Nature, go to nature, and just, no, anything can be turned into mindfulness. So if you walk, for example, in the forest, and you just notice that there are trees, you pay attention to what you really see. Even when you eat, when you drink coffee. How do you drink coffee, Mariana? Do you really pay attention when you pay coffee? Do you feel the smell of that coffee? What a beautiful smell, and then enjoy, every moment that you spend with that. It is called savoring. You savor those moments. So you don't think about future, about your past, what happened, why I said this and that, but, or maybe you're anxious about whatever, but you just focus and you be in that moment, present. That's it.
I really like,
and it's really helpful.
Mm-hmm. I really like that you mentioned focus, because I think it's really important. That's why I started it's difficult for me, but I went on the Europeana webinar. I want to say that the presenter, who is an origami expert, he said, okay, who are you making this origami for? Think of that person and just relax and try to do this or that. So it really, I couldn't believe how relaxing it became, and it became more easy. So we should seek. I know that some people will say, oh no, I'm more active person. Okay, if you are more active, you do more exercises or ride a bike or whatever. But people need, because we are bombarded with a lot of things from the outside. It's different than when we were young. And it's necessary. Okay, I'm just reading quickly from the chat. Thank you so much, Kornelia.
47% of our mind is wandering. So that's why we need to focus. Imagine you enter a classroom, your students, their thoughts are everywhere. They are thinking about maybe in the morning, they had arguments with mother, father, whatever, partner. And they come to a classroom and you start teaching. Not at all. They are not focused.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
yeah, I totally.
You need to start a bit different way.
Mm-hmm. People have been asking me for the link. The link is in the chat. You can just scroll up a little bit. Kornelia, people have been thanking you a lot. Let me just one more time just grab this link for the evaluation. We are soon going to stop the recording. You will be shared the link soon of the recording and all the materials that Kornelia presented here and the useful links. Thank you so much, Kornelia, for joining us. Let's just take a quick screenshot of two of us and your poster here. And Marta, thank you so much for being in the background with us. It's always a pleasure having you all around. And that's it. Any final words, Kornelia, Marta?
Just many thanks for this, and thank you for that idea that you came with this request to have this webinar. Because yes, last year I focused on well-being, that I had some webinars for my group, Entrepreneurship in Education, about well-being, and yes, this is a bit more focused on social emotional learning, and yes, I want to do this much more, because this really depression, the level of depression, anxiety, and during this time is higher and higher, and we need to work with this. And that's why I think it's maybe like symbol, the new start, new year, first webinar, let's focus on this. Be human, be kind, be respectful, and pay attention to well-being. Ours as well. We can't share this when we are not emotionally intelligent and socially intelligent. So thank you. Many thanks.
We would say that these unfortunate... Thank you so much, Kornelia. We would say that our students are definitely in need of this. We are in need of this because we should be concerned of our students, not only of their academic performance, right, but also of them trying to be good people. And all of these things you shared is something that can help them and us in the classroom. Thank you so much one more time.